A good few years ago now, in the heart of the communist persecution in Poland, the son of a leading government official in the area, but therefore a hardcore communist, wanted to get out of the rain. It was lashing down, as it can do in Eastern Europe. So he got into the nearest porch he could find, and because he was still wet, decided to go a step further and went inside. It happened to be a Catholic church, and he, out of curiosity, looked at the focus of attention, which was the monstrance on the altar surrounded by light. And suddenly he heard a voice from that monstrance. I exist, and you will be my priest. It was objective, he heard it. We're not quite sure how these things work. It might have been in his heart, but it was objective because he was in no mood to listen. However, he couldn't avoid it. He'd heard it, he'd felt it. He liked it, actually, uncomfortable though it was. And what did he do? He came back to the same place the following day. And it happened again. This time he didn't need to hear anything, but the warmth that had surrounded all his being came again. He liked it. He came back, and he came back, and each time he felt it, though as time went on, it wasn't quite as strong as in the beginning because it had had its effect. What did he do? He was discreet at home because he could foresee the storm. So he went to the top. The top is always the local bishop, Christ for us. The only thing is, the local bishop was a wise man, and he knew things. He knew his parents, or at least he knew who they were. Come off it, you're not going to the priesthood where you've come from. I will be a priest. All right. He told me you will be a priest. Think about it. Come back when you've cooled off. Sometime later, I still want to be a priest. I see you mean business. Well, do you know what that means? I know exactly what that means. So, he meant far more business than most. So the bishop didn't resist the Holy Spirit. Okay, just do what you're told and you'll be a priest. He got through the system. Despite heated debates at home, he was ordained by the same good bishop. And I heard on the grapevine that he turned out to be one of the best priests in the whole of Poland. Why? He had met Jesus Christ. And if one doesn't meet Jesus Christ, one's in the wrong job. Vocation, my friends, can take on many forms. It's bound to be, because only half of us are males, and the others too might be called to be brides of Christ. I have to do with quite a few of them, beautiful, unspoiled virgins. Especially beautiful when it's purely gratuitous, and all their powers of love go towards that same monstrance. And you know that in many of these convents, things do actually happen between the brides of Christ and their King. I know because I've had a lot to do with them ever since being ordained. The Lord also has ways and means of talking to their heart, and he does. Because they console him greatly for what he doesn't get elsewhere, and he lets them feel their pain. Often from those very priests that should be consoling him. Do you know that the devil knows full well what a priest is? Does it surprise you then that there's a head-on attack on the priesthood? And often he aims with the greatest fury against the best. and the most faithful, because they're the greatest nuisances to his kingdom. Look around and see how many good priests you know who have fallen. But the other route as well is glorious. It doesn't necessarily involve the priesthood. Praise and glory, gratuitous waste of life, just to sing the praises of the Lord day and night, the monastic life. He hates also this. And of course, the great means he uses is precisely the same as he uses for many a young priest: temptation against purity. One day in the desert, a monk was asked to go to the local town for the commissions of the community, because they had wicker baskets to be sold, and he had to bring forth various provisions back. As he was there, the veil was lifted from his eyes, and he noticed a demon in this position. He was bored stiff, he had nothing to do. All he had to do was whisper something in their ear, and they all obeyed him immediately. He came back to the desert, and he saw a young monk in his grotto, surrounded by 40 very furious black demons. And what were they doing? They were trying to get him to leave his cell by lovely carrots especially of impurity and possibly career. And he wouldn't budge. One day in the same Egyptian desert, this happened. It was a conversation between the brethren, and in this conversation, one of the brethren came out with this: I'm not surprised about this scenario. I am the son of a pagan high priest. And years ago, when I was a child, I overheard this conversation. My father, the high priest in this pagan cult, was exercising his ministry. And he heard this strange conversation between demons whom he was serving. Lucifer was there, and these demons were coming back after being on patrol around the universe, trying to fish souls. And one demon came back. Father Lucifer, I managed to make a soul fall into a grave sin of theft today. How long did you take? About a month. 40 lashes! And he was taken off. Another demon came up. Father Lucifer, I managed to make a soul fall today into the sin of murder. How long did you take? 2 months. 80 lashes! Another demon came up, trembling because of what he'd seen. Father Lucifer, I succeeded in making a soul fall today in the desert. It was one of the desert fathers. I managed to make him fall into a sin of impurity. You did what? Come here and sit beside me and receive the crown. Do you see how the demon is interested in consecrated souls? He's also interested in you, little people. He loves to get people when they're young and clean and pure, and he will use lots of nice games to get you there, with screens and naughty pictures and bad friends, because maybe some of you have precisely another way through life to get you to glory. And of course the demon will try to fish you with his own carrots. So I finish with this one, which is a true story about the carrot he will probably use to make sure that you settle for mediocrity and don't get to the maximum. It was in Holland many years ago. It was one of the greatest saints that ever lived, who had all the illnesses in her life except one, leprosy. The Lord kept leprosy from her because she had to be available to people on her sickbed. And on her sickbed, the whole universe would come to her because she knew things, lots of things. A young man came in his teens to her. I feel the call to become a monk, like the desert monks of old. Go, it is from the Holy Spirit. And he went. And they would meet actually in ecstasy in the desert, because they would fly in God. And one day, a bishop, an English bishop, on the way back from Jerusalem, was going through the desert near Sinai and came across this cabin in the desert. Is there anyone up there? Yes. This door opened and a big round monk came up. How on earth do you survive? You're well fed. The Lord looks after all my needs. I eat upon manna, as in the desert of old. Ah, you're on the way to Holland. Well, I have a friend there. Her name is Lidwine. I want you to talk to her and say to her, I don't meet her anymore. What's the problem? So the bishop went off and found Lidwine in her room in Schiedam in Holland. I have a message to you, good lady of God, from this monk in the desert, whom I know that you know. Yes, I can't fly anymore. What's the matter, sister? I lost my brother and I was attached to him and I'm stuck to the earth. Ah, what's the problem? Well, it's like this. The little brother was very pious like you. He loved Jesus Christ and said all his prayers. But this lady came along and toppled him with lots and lots of human love, and they married. But he didn't live very long. He died, a young married man. And I was there when they were burying him, and I saw over his coffin a chalice, only it was upside down.